Welcome to the Truro and Colchester Chamber of Commerce's new Business Voice podcast. Your chamber has been a voice of business in this region for about 130 years, and we are proud to amplify that voice in this space. In our podcast, we will chat with members of the business community, learn about their issues or challenges, and be inspired by their successes, activities, and initiatives. Today, we're going to welcome David Phillips with the Truro and Colchester Partnership for Economic Prosperity. So welcome, David.
Thank you, Sherry.
We're looking forward to learning a little bit about you. So, David, you are the new Business Development Officer for the Truro and Colchester Partnership for Prosperity, our local economic development group, and you came on board around the end of November. So how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're bringing to this role?
Sure. Well, I was born in Truro and raised and schooled here. I went to university in Halifax and then launched my business career, which kept me in Halifax for, I guess, about a decade. And then I accepted a position at Microsoft in Toronto and spent about 11 years at Microsoft in Toronto and Paris, focusing mainly on marketing strategy and market intelligence. I was at Microsoft for a total of 11 years when I took a job in Paris with the LVMH Group, which is the world's largest luxury goods conglomerate, as Global Director of Market Insights and Strategy. I did that for a couple of years, and then my mom got sick back home in Truro, so we made the decision to come back and spend her last years with her and help in her care. I took a job as Vice President of Marketing at Acadian Sea Plants. Did that for almost 5 years, and then we made a decision to move our family back to my hometown, and my plan was to have a consulting practice there. Most of my consulting clients were international in scope, based on my business experience. But then this position came up at the Truro and Colchester Partnership, and I thought, how could I find a better way to round out my 30-year career in business by purposing all of my skills and experience in the service of local businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups to help folks in my home community reach their full potential. And so that's why I'm here. Started in late November. It's been very exciting. I think it's probably the first job I've ever had that doesn't really feel like a job. I very much look forward to getting up every day and meeting with the folks in the community and helping them realize their dreams of having their own business.
Certainly listening to the places that you have worked and the efforts that you've put in at other businesses in the industries that you've helped develop, you're bringing a lot to the table here that's really across the board. Is there one particular area where you have an expertise?
Well, my background has been primarily marketing, marketing strategy, brand stewardship, and market intelligence. That said, I've worked in small, medium, and large multinational companies. So I understand the operations angle and the product development angle and production and so on. Obviously, the financial component of any business is hard to escape when you're in executive positions. So I've managed multi-million-dollar budgets. I've managed $10,000 budgets, and I've managed budgets that I could fit on my credit card.
Very impressive. And those are some of the most important budgets to manage. Chatting a little bit about our relationship between our organizations. So the Truro and Colchester Chamber of Commerce is a major stakeholder in the Truro and Colchester Partnership for Economic Prosperity. So as a chamber, our main reason for existing is the advocacy role, being the voice of business, and certainly with the PEP's role, the TCPA, it's the economic development arm of business in this region that through our efforts with our membership, then we're able to support the work that you're doing. So from your perspective in economic development within a community, why is it important to have a strong arm like that working on that?
Well, I'm a big believer in being intentional in your personal life and as a community. And I think, when I look at economic development efforts, particularly in Eastern Canada over the last many years, there have been a lot of very tactical and knee-jerk decisions being made. And I think that when I look at the Truro Colchester area, I see a community with immense opportunity, largely because of our physical location in the region. We are the hub, and the hub isn't just a cute name to put on a sign outside of town. The hub means something. It means that we're a central location, not just for Nova Scotia, but for the entire region. So I think that when I think about the future of the Truro Colchester area, I think approaching it with approaching the future with intention, our best days are ahead of us. I think that if we become more strategic about how we approach business growth in the region, looking at the strengths of the region and the assets that we offer, and attracting businesses that can rely on those strengths and assets most effectively, looking at the demand in the region. So I work a lot with retail organizations and people who want to start a restaurant or a store. So rather than just helping anybody who wants to start any kind of a restaurant or a store, let's look at the demand that exists in the marketplace, and let's target our business development activities towards where that demand is. And that will drive greater prosperity and greater sustainability in the success of these businesses, both industrial and retail.
I know certainly since you've come on board with the TCPAP, one of the things that you've been doing is getting out, meeting with businesses, talking to them, and really compiling a list of things that you can work on going forward. So tell me a little bit about the work that you are doing as the business development officer.
So most of the work that I do is sitting with people who have a business and want to do something more or better or differently with their business, and they need some advice and guidance and structure on how to do that. I also work with people who have a business idea and want to start a business. I will advise them. I will give them feedback on whether the business is viable and what directions they need to take, perhaps what personal development or education they need to undertake in order to be able to successfully start that business. I will help them navigate the investment waters. So I'll tell them about the banks that we have here and how you would get funding from a bank, or Noble, the CBDC, or the ACOA or BDC. There's a lot of support and resources out there for people who want to start a business. It can be quite intimidating for someone who has a business idea but doesn't necessarily understand how to work their way through all of that bureaucracy. So we can help in that regard as well. As a bit of a side hustle, we're working on this notion of creating a strategic framework for business development in the region. Again, doing an inventory of our various assets and our strengths as a region, looking at the gaps that we have here and the demand that we have here that isn't being met by existing companies, and then directing our business development activities to filling those gaps and meeting those demands. That kind of effort will result in more predictable success for businesses. So we'll have more startups that can actually withstand the test of time. And so that's pretty exciting too, working with these businesses, but also creating an ecosystem, a business ecosystem here that is conducive to the success of these businesses.
Sounds like a wonderful idea. So have you identified anything to this point that you think is missing or that needs to be happening here that might not be right now?
I think it's one thing to have a good business idea, and there is no dearth of great business ideas in this region. There's a lot of creativity, a lot of ingenuity, a lot of very talented and hardworking people. What people do need to understand is that to get their business moving, they need a business plan. In all cases, you need a business plan. And that business plan isn't just to give to a bank to secure funding. It's also to help you shape and structure your ideas. People need to do their own due diligence at the get-go. They need to talk to their family and friends about whether this business makes sense. They need to think about whether there's a genuine demand for their business in the marketplace. That means they need to look at their competition and who else is out there, if anybody, doing what they're proposing to do. When you have a business idea, you need to think about answering one of these questions. Is what I'm delivering something that doesn't exist in the market today? If it does exist, am I delivering something better than what exists, or am I delivering something cheaper than what exists? And if you can't answer any of those questions, then maybe it's not such a good idea. The other thing is you have to understand your financial goals. And when it comes to the financial components of a business plan, I'm finding that people in this region are quite challenged with doing that piece. So people are very passionate and very articulate about talking about their business idea and even the marketing components of the business idea. But a lot of folks fall down on the financial side. And we have training and resources that help people in that regard. But it's really important that people understand how much money they need to make, and they're able to forecast how much money they're prepared to sign up to generate over the course of a year. And that's not only important in terms of keeping your own business on track and moving forward to make money, but anyone who would potentially invest in a business is going to need to see that. And that's the most important component of a business plan for them.
Oh, absolutely. You can't keep moving forward without money to keep the machines running. So from your perspective, I guess, what types of supports can the TCPAP provide to business?
Well, at a minimum, we can provide an objective third-party perspective with expert advice and guidance and feedback. We can also provide some training for people who need it. We can actually sit and help people develop a business plan. We have templates, and I'm also more than happy to sit with people personally and help them work through a business plan. Business plans don't have to be complicated, but they have to be complete and they have to be clear. We can also help people navigate all of the different financing and funding options. We can make the necessary introductions and so on. And we can help people really every step of the way as they seek to start, grow, and expand their business. One of the areas that is of particular interest to me is exporting. Because of my 30 years of experience in international business, exporting is something that excites me greatly. And I think that there's a lot of really great products being produced and developed in this region. Not a lot of those products are being exported. And I think that presents a huge opportunity for companies here. Exporting can be intimidating. It's not as complicated as people think, but there's a lot of red tape and regulation and so on that you need to navigate through. We can help companies that want to get their products into foreign markets in terms of introducing them to organizations like the EDC, which insures your assets against loss, and BDC and financial institutions to help get our great Canadian products and our great Nova Scotia products out into the world.
So when I think exporting is a term that often people do think of export as something that has to be moved internationally, where exporting in general is if a product is made within a community and it moves outside of that community where it was created, then that's exporting. So there's lots of opportunity to grow that with new infrastructure online and opening up those global markets, but even neighborhoods, different places that you can move it from one into the next county even is exporting.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the great products that I see being developed here, like the bee honey products that are developed at Anther and Apiary, for example. Just an amazing store. I hate to leave it when I go in there. It smells so good. But that's a local business which is now selling online and taking advantage of all of the great social media opportunities that exist. There's a lot of really nice, beautiful, creative, natural products in this region, and a lot of manufacturing ingenuity as well that needs to get out across the province. It needs to get out across the region and out across the country. And the cool thing about exporting within the country is that you don't have all of the regulatory red tape that you have to deal with when you're exporting internationally.
That's wonderful that you're able to help with that, because there are great opportunities here with, like you said, a wide range of products that we are manufacturing in this region that can spread far beyond our county. So let's go back a little bit. So you are planning to set down some roots here, coming back to the community that you'd grown up in. So what is it that you love the most about the Truro and Colchester community?
Oh gosh, well, it's home. This is where I grew up. This is where I developed my values and my work ethic. A lot of my family is here. Many of my old friends are here. It's where I feel most comfortable in the world. And I've had the great good fortune of living in a lot of cool places. And all of those places have always gotten compared to home. People are friendly here. People are warm. People want to help. That give you the shirt off their back. I know that's a truism, but it's true. And coming back here in a business context, seeing just all of the creativity and all of the ingenuity here, all of the great new businesses that are coming, and the new restaurants in the area, and business innovation. It's just very, very impressive. And so it's neat to be able to come back in that context, to come back to everything I knew and loved as a child, but also to see this new blossoming business ecosystem here is very, very exciting.
Great. And I know that one of the things you are most looking forward to is getting out and meeting as many business owners, managers as possible and connecting with them. Do you have a message for them?
My message is I'm here, and I'm available to everybody. If you have a business idea, don't be embarrassed to contact us, no matter how far along you are with that idea. If you have a business and you're thinking about expanding that business, maybe developing a new product or moving into a new market, or you have a problem that needs solving, I'm here to help. And I'm very excited to work with businesses, small, medium, and large, and to help you all realize your full potential.
Well, no, certainly from the Chamber, we are thrilled to have you as part of the business team here in Truro, Colchester, and really looking forward to working with you as we move forward in supporting business. So that is the wrap up of our podcast, and I would like to encourage everyone to think local first and love where you live.